What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for coming back. Cloud chasing at an all-time high. It's your man Born. I ain't got no spill. I just keep it all the way real. Today, we got Young Thug, the YSL RICO case, specifically the jail phone call that basically created and started this whole case. We're gonna go through Adrian Bean testimony, step by step. I already did a video on the actual jail call. If you need to hear that, you can go back and check my video out. Basically, his whole testimony was that he didn't see nothing, he don't know nothing, he don't remember nothing. No ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am, right? But first things first, before I even start, I want to say, I'm not biased about nothing. I hope Thug does get justice. But I will say, a hit dog will holler, right? So the evidence that's mounting up on Thug, I just want the YouTube audience and everybody to be critical of what it really is, and and just watch this case unfold carefully. In my last video, I addressed the fact that there's an elephant in the room when it comes to Young Thug. No one addresses the fact that he has cross-dressed in the past, took promotional pictures in a cross-dressing type manner, I guess. I don't know his sexual preference or nothing like that, whatever, but he comes across his gender as a male, So if you listen to this testimony very closely, you will hear them refer to a female being in the vehicle and things of that nature. A female was never captured or identified. Also, Thug was never captured, but Thug was identified. But they didn't never describe what Thug allegedly had on. So yeah, with all that being said, keep in mind, follow along. Like I said, the guy that gets up on the stand, he's gonna say a lot of no ma'am and stuff of that nature. But just think about the questions that the DA is asking.
Steele and Miss Bernard, good morning. All right, Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Weinstein, good morning. All right, Mr. Hugh and Mr. Matthews Sr., good morning. All right, Mr. Nichols and Mr. Harvey and Miss Westmoreland, good morning. Mr. Ryan and Miss E. Williams, good morning. Oh, good morning, Miss Adams. See, you have quite the case there. All right, okay. Miss Love, Miss Hilton, Mr. Atkins, and Mr. Uhelski, and Mr. Brown, good morning. Mr. Smith, good morning. Where's Mr. Brown? No. Okay. All right, okay. All right, no problem. All right. Okay, so anything I need to take up, where's Mr. Bean? Okay, all right. Anything I need to take up before we bring in Mr. Bean? Okay, all right. We can summon Mr. Bean, please.
Look at Thug, y'all. Thug know what's up, man. He trying not to look nervous, but he know this is not a good testimony coming up.
All right, good morning, Mr. Bean. Go ahead and come on up.
Look at Thug, y'all.
Yeah, I see that. Can we, hold on.
If looks could kill y'all, what would y'all suggest Thug is thinking right now.
All right, we good? All right, Debbie Smothers, go ahead and summon our jurors for us, please, sir. Mr. Bean, whenever the jury comes before leaving, she got to stay there. All right.
It's a very important day in the courtroom, y'all. This is the guy from the jail phone call that's about to take the stand right now, and we're gonna pay attention, close attention, to the questions that the DA is going to be asking this guy. I wonder what Thug got in his pocket, y'all. You can clearly see he got some in his front pocket. I wonder what he had. And is he allowed to have stuff like that in court? Just questions, just thoughts. I don't know, it look like some kind of cell phone. Or, I don't know, y'all. Tell me, put down in the comments, what do y'all think Young Thug has in his front pocket?
All right, thank you, Debbie Smothers. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. Good morning. All right, sound good. I'm sorry we're kind of a little bit of delay. You know, weather tends to make people lose their minds in Atlanta, especially when it comes to traffic. I understand a couple of you are delayed, not a problem. So we're going to continue with
the ATL traffic, y'all. 285 be a bitch. Okay? Everybody down there who know about 285, man. Tell them about traffic in Atlanta, y'all.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Dean.
Good morning.
When we left off yesterday, I was asking you what you remember about a time in 2013 in September, speaking with an Atlanta police detective at Atlanta Police Headquarters. I want to pick up with that, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall during an interview in September 2013 at the Atlanta Police Headquarters, a police detective asking you what Big Fred's deal was for that job?
I don't recall, ma'am.
Okay. We already starting off basically where this brother is gonna deny. All right. I don't know if his attorney advised him to do this or whoever advised him to do this. I don't know if it's poor advice or great advice. I just know that it don't help Young Thug.
Do you recall telling that same detective or a detective in September 2013 that Big Fred had taken hold of the 9mm Ruger in the car that you all were in?
Oh, man.
Okay, first of all, he's already mentioning a weapon with this conversation with Detective Quinn, who probably will come in later this week as a witness for the state and probably will refute everything this guy has basically denied. So yeah, he's already starting off talking about a 9mm.
Do you remember telling a detective with the Atlanta Police Department that Big Fred was just trying to put something in his pocket, just trying to get out? Do you remember that?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember speaking to a detective about September 11, 2013 at Atlanta Police Headquarters and saying, at the time we went in Summerdale, the robbery wasn't no robbery because he could have gotten out. Thug could have gotten out.
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling that a detective at the Atlanta Police Department that DK could have gotten out?
He already putting Young Thug, DK, and everybody else at the scene.
Do you recall telling an Atlanta police detective in September 2013, Thug tells DK He didn't really just say, go get the money. He was like, go get it. Go ahead and get it. Go get it. Do you remember telling him that?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you during a September 2013 interview at the Atlanta Police Headquarters whether you knew that they were going to take Dirty Red's money?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you at Atlanta Police Headquarters in September 2013, was there a girl in the car anywhere?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling Detective Quinn there was no girl?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you, are you just trying to hide that from your wife? There's no girl in the car anywhere?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling Detective Quinn, no girl, there wasn't no girl in the car. The girl they think is a girl, the girl they think is a girl is Thug, man. I gave it to Thug, man. Thug got the wild hair. Do you remember telling Detective Quinn that?
Hold up. Here we come in the crossroads of the case. Here is the fork in the road, right? Because if you know, like everybody else knows, we've actually seen Thug in drag before. He cross dresses, right? So this man already just put it out there that the woman that they think is a woman is not a woman. It's Young Thug.
No, ma'am. I don't have it. No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you remember telling Detective Quinn it's over 180 of these little motherfuckers and that you ain't trying to get in conflict? You're a family man?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you in September 2013, where is Thug sitting, up front or in the back?
No, ma'am.
And we
Do you
know
remember
for a
telling
fact,
Detective Quinn he's in the back with DK?
we know for a fact this man told everything that these detectives are asking him, because how do they have all these details, right? This is a very detailed statement from this guy.
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you, wait a minute, who's up front with you?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling Detective Quinn that up front you got me, meaning yourself, and Big Fred?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling Detective Quinn that you were driving,
No, ma'am.
Big Fred was on the passenger seat, Thug was behind Big Fred, and DK was behind the driver? That's you.
No, ma'am.
And if y'all just looking into his eyes, especially when he's saying no ma'am, just get in the comments and tell me what y'all see. And when she's confronting him with this information, just keep taking a look into his eyes.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you again, who's behind Big Fred?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling Detective Quinn Thug was behind Big Fred?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you about who shot DK and who shot Big Fred?
My statement is that I don't remember anything from 2013, ma'am.
Okay, I understand. But I have to ask you these questions, okay?
She say, I understand. I'm
Do
going to
you
just keep
remember
asking you these
telling
questions,
a
young man.
detective at the Atlanta Police Department that you thought Big Fred was shot in the back?
Faces.
The witnesses indicated asked and answered.
Overruled. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Faces.
Backroom Foundation, I would ask that the
The man on that stand scared as hell, y'all. He know his life is in jeopardy at this point.
That was one of the first questions they asked him. So I'm gonna overrule your objection. Okay? All right.
Do you remember, you may answer this question if you can, and whatever answer that is. Do you remember telling a police detective during a September 2013 interview at the Atlanta Police Department that you thought Big Fred was shot in the back?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember a detective asking you whether or not someone from the back could have shot Big Fred?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling the detective at the Atlanta Police Department, a detective, in September 2013, that you couldn't say whether Thug or DK or either of them shot Big Fred in the back?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember a detective at the Atlanta Police Department in September 2013 asking you how many shots did you hear in the car when it was crashing over the wall?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling the detective you heard one shot, but you couldn't say it was a shot because there was so much confusion?
No, ma'am.
Y'all gotta ask yourself, how do these detectives, district attorneys, and the court have all this information?
Police Department in September 2013. I know DK couldn't have shot him because he was more worried about, is he okay? He's more worried about him.
So this is what we're trying to figure out right now. We already know that this man has given statements to the police in regards to an incident of robbery on Cleveland Avenue. All we trying to find out right now is to identify that so-called female in that lace front rig that was running from the scene.
His situation, because he had to run. Do you remember telling a detective at the Atlanta Police Department that?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling a detective in a September 2013 interview at the Atlanta Police Department that Dirty Red ran?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling the detective or a detective at the Atlanta Police Department in September 2013 that you, Mr. Bean, did not rob anybody?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember a detective, specifically Detective Quinn, during a September 2013 interview telling you asking you about the name of the person with the DK tattoo on his forehead, the backwards K?
No, ma'am. I don't answer that.
Do you remember a detective telling you in September 2013 during an interview at the Atlanta Police Department, I don't know the guy's real name that had the D and the backwards K on his forehead, but I...
This is my question to all the legal people in the audience. Was his attorney, if he has an attorney, was his attorney wise for telling him to get up there and basically deny everything or say that I can't recall? Was that a wise decision? Or was he not even supposed to take the stand at all, knowing that his testimony is basically very damaging? Get in the comments and let me know.
I'm going to see if I can find it.
No, ma'am.
Do you remember the detective or a detective at the Atlanta Police Department asking you, why'd you wait on DK after he was shooting? Why didn't you just leave him?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember saying to a detective during an interview at the Atlanta Police Department in September 2013 that you were pissed off with DK?
No, ma'am.
During September 2013, did you have a Camry that you were driving?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember a detective asking you whether Thug was in your black Camry earlier when he went to check on that lick?
No, ma'am.
Do you
And again, for him to get up there basically and deny everything, right? They got him in a black Camry, different things of that nature, which really probably not even that hard to prove, right? What do you do with a guy like this? I mean, is that perjury because he said he don't recall or this and that, is he just being uncooperative?
remember telling a detective in September 2013 that no, Thug wasn't in your black Camry earlier when he went to check on the lick?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember a detective in 2013, September, at the Atlanta Police Department, asking you when Thug went up to Ken's shop, was he using your car or another black Camry? Do you remember a detective asking you that?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling a detective in a September 2013 interview at the Atlanta Police Department, Thug got a black Challenger?
No, ma'am.
And he volunteering information about Thug and everything. The thing about this guy, right? I'm pretty sure they have all kind of evidence that he was down there at that police station in September, right? And for him to get up here and deny all this volunteer information that he's offering up, now that he's on the stand, he wants to deny. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about this guy?
Do you remember a detective, specifically Detective Quinn, asking you during an interview in September 2013 whether Thug had his own car?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember responding to a question about Thug having his own car? Thug has a black Challenger.
No, ma'am.
Do you remember a detective in September 2013 asking you when did you first see the uniformed police officer that fired the gun, or whether or not you even saw it?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling a detective in a September 2013 interview at the Atlanta Police Department, man, I don't even remember the police getting there?
No, ma'am.
So basically, he's telling the details in detail of what happened in that incident where the police got behind them, and basically at that time when he got caught, he spilled the beans. Hence his name, Adrian Bean, right? He spilled the beans, and he gave them way more information than they ever had or even knew. And he's probably the number one reason that this YSL RICO even started in the first place.
Remember Detective Quinn asking you in a September 2013 interview, did you ever hear the police give a command?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you, did you see a police officer?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling Detective Quinn that you did not see a police officer?
No, ma'am. I don't remember.
You do not?
I don't remember.
Do you remember a detective asking you in a September 2013 interview, did you knowingly ram the cop's vehicle trying to leave? Did you know you hit it?
No, ma'am.
And do you remember telling a detective in a September 2013 interview that no, you didn't knowingly ram a cop's vehicle while trying to leave Summerhill?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling a detective in a September 2013 interview that it was the cop that bumped you?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember a detective, specifically Detective Quinn, asking you during a September 2013 interview whether it was fair to say that the cops tried to block you in to stop you from leaving?
No, ma'am.
And the thing about this too, right? If he answers yes to any of these questions in this line of questioning, does he throw off everything he said no ma'am to? Let's go.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you in a September 2013 interview, why didn't you stop when you saw the car that the police were in?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling Detective Quinn in a September 2013 interview you didn't know it was a cop because you did not see a uniformed cop?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn or any other detective at the Atlanta Police Department asking you in a September 2013 interview, who'd you see in the car that pulled in front of your car? Y'all are nose to nose. Do you